news than from any other source. Watched by more people than any other network. ABC.
You're watching the News Channel. WTVD News Channel 11. Now, the news continues with Larry Stogner, Miriam Thomas, meteorologist Bill Ray with the AccuWeather forecast, and Drew Smith on sports. This is News Channel 11, Nightwatch.
Emergency crews raced to the wreckage of an American Eagle plane that crashed during its final approach to Raleigh-Durham International Airport. 13 people were killed, 7 others injured. Good evening, everyone. American Eagle Flight 3379 took off from Greensboro at approximately 6:05 this evening and disappeared from radar at 6:35 tonight. The plane went down about 3 miles southwest of RDU near Coppers Road and Davis Drive in the Morrisville area. The aircraft was a British Aerospace Jetstream Super 31. The twin-engine plane is American Eagle's smallest and seats 19 people. Latest numbers suggest it was carrying a full load. Tonight, we bring you team coverage of this disaster. We begin with News Channel 11's Susan Christensen.
This one roadway behind me has become a link of life. Emergency crews here, a scene of devastation just a mile and a half away in the woods. From the moment the Jetstream went off radar, hundreds went into action. 10 minutes after a plane goes down, an army of fire trucks, rescue vehicles, and emergency crews race to the scene. Information is sketchy.
We do have an aircraft on the ground. It's an American Eagle plane. We have reported 16 passengers and 2 crew members at this time.
American Eagle Flight 3379 from Greensboro goes down minutes after being cleared for final approach. The crash was heard by people living nearby.
It sounded like thunder, which alarmed me because I didn't expect anything like that. I stepped out on my front porch, and then all of a sudden it was quiet. So I said, "Well, I don't know what it is. It must have been an airplane." But
just 3 miles from the runway, rescue workers rush survivors to area hospitals. Some passengers have died, but the search for survivors continues.
The crash site has been described as the aircraft in 2 distinct parts in a heavily wooded area. 2 parts of the aircraft are approximately 25 feet from each other.
People gathering at the scene try and explain this disaster while waiting for safety officials to arrive and begin their investigation. As is the case with all plane crashes, the National Transportation Safety Board will be investigating. The crash scene will remain intact until they arrive, and at this point, all survivors have been taken to area hospitals. Reporting live from Morrisville, North Carolina, I'm Susan Christensen. Now back to you.
Susan, before you go, it seems that all of the survivors and the dead have been accounted for. What are the rescue crews doing out there tonight?
At this point in time, what they're doing right now is actually stabilizing the crash site. As you said, all the survivors have been taken out. They're basically just trying to gather information so when the NTSB does arrive, they'll be able to assist them in that investigation. They're scheduled to get here sometime around midnight. And at this point, we're really not sure. Probably by morning, we'll start to have some answers as to what really caused this crash, Larry.
All right, Susan Christensen live at the crash scene. Thank you for that. Well, if you think you may have a family member aboard American Eagle Flight 3379, here's a phone number you can call. It is 1-800-433-7300. Again, the phone number for information about family members who may be aboard Flight 3379. Call American Eagle at 1-800-433-7300. 3 of the crash victims were taken to Wake Medical Center in Raleigh. The first 2 victims arrived at the emergency room just before 9 o'clock tonight. Minutes later, the 3rd victim arrived at the East Raleigh Hospital.
They're all males, all are conscious and are being treated in our trauma area right now. 1 patient is in critical condition and will probably be taken to surgery, and the other 2 are still being evaluated at this time.
According to the hospital, 2 of the victims are not from North Carolina. 1 is from New York, another from Illinois. Hospital officials are trying to determine where the other victim lives. Some of the other injured were taken to Duke Medical Center in Durham. Our live team coverage continues at Duke now, where HealthCast 11 reporter Jennifer Silverman is standing by. Jennifer, what can you tell us?
Larry, such a sad situation. First, I will update the information that you have from WakeMed. There were indeed 3 crash victims taken there. One was Don Merkel, a 60-year-old man from Windsor, Illinois. He is in critical condition with many, many broken bones, doctors tell us. John Ciula, a 31-year-old from Manorville, New York, is also in critical condition, and the 3rd victim has not yet been identified. He is also in critical. We now go on to what is happening here at Duke University Medical Center. They brought in 4 patients here separately between 7:45 and 9:15. 2 of those patients died after arriving here at the hospital. The other 2 are, yes, also in critical condition. All of the hospitals in the Triangle were put on alert. EMS triaged patients to 3 of the area hospitals. No names yet on the victims here at Duke University Medical Center. Doctors are working to identify them right now, and they are busy evaluating the condition of the 2 remaining survivors.
At this point, the only thing that I am able to provide you is that they have general extent of injuries, which would include both broken bones as well as we suspect some internal injuries.
And doctors also believe some head trauma to those 2 victims. They will continue treatment and evaluation. It is likely both of those patients will be admitted here if they survive. We'll keep you updated. For now, we are live at Duke University Medical Center. Jennifer Silverman, News Channel 11.
All right, we're going to go to Bill Ray right now, who has been watching the elements tonight as they occurred right after the flight, during the flight. Let's go to Bill for the latest on that.
Well, thank you very much. This is a look at the Doppler 11 radar between 6:30 and 7, and there was rain in the area. The airport right here, the plane coming in for a landing. That rain, temperatures were close to freezing, about 1,000 feet where the plane would have been. So there's the possibility there could have been some structural icing on the wings that could affect the landing or the crash of that plane. We're just speculating now. The other interesting thing is this wind profiler that we can show you on our Doppler. And as we look down here, this is the winds that were occurring right after the crash. As you go up to 1,000 to 2,000 feet, this yellow is telling me that there was a little low-level wind shear, a burst of wind that could have affected the plane as it cruised through this altitude and picked up that sudden gust of wind. Low-level wind shear, something pilots don't like to handle as that plane was on approach. So right now we're just speculating if weather was a cause. Slight chance it could have been icing or low-level wind shear. We just don't know right now, but that's the way the weather was at the airport at the time of the crash. Larry?
Thank you, Bill. As we have said, Flight 3379 took off from Piedmont Triad International Airport in Greensboro about 5:45 this evening. And that is where reporter Deborah Prohl is tonight. Deborah, what's going on there? All right, we're going to move ahead. This isn't the first crash of American Eagle plane at Raleigh-Durham International Airport. Back on February 19th, American Eagle Flight 3378 crashed in a wooded area about a mile from the runway after departing in dense fog from the airport. All 12 people on board were killed. American Eagle has also suffered 2 fatal crashes in Puerto Rico. One on June 7th, 1992, killed 5 people when the plane crashed into a swamp during a rainstorm. And on May 8th, 1987, the pilot and co-pilot of an American Eagle plane died when their plane crashed and burned in Mayaguez. And the most recent American Eagle crash occurred only about 6 weeks ago on Halloween night. That's when an American Eagle ATR-72 went down in Roselawn, Indiana, killing all 68 people on board. The plane was in a holding pattern, waiting to land at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport. The cause of the crash is still under investigation, but ice on the wings is suspected. Following that crash in Indiana, the FAA looked at the safety of the ATR commuter aircraft. Some American Eagle pilots in Chicago refused to fly the ATR-42s and 72s in icy weather, and then last Friday, the FAA decided to ban all ATR aircraft, 42s and 72s, during icy weather. It was that ban that led to American Eagle's decision this past weekend to shut down its operations at RDU. American Eagle is in the process of shifting commuter aircraft, like the Jetstream that crashed tonight, to Chicago, and it plans to end service at RDU by the end of the year. We'll be back with more in just a moment. We're going to Greensboro now, where we have a reporter standing by to tell us more about that American Eagle flight that crashed tonight. Nancy Prohl. Nancy.
Yes, we have been out here since about 8 o'clock this evening. We have had a hard time getting any information. The American Airline's counter has been closed down. There hasn't been many workers around. We did check that flight. It was scheduled to leave out of Greensboro at 5:45 this evening. It is also important to point out that it's likely that it would be quiet here on a night like this. The last flight that leaves out of Greensboro is at 6:30 this evening. So we have been having a hard time trying to find out how many people who were on that flight originated from the Greensboro area or from the Raleigh area, as a matter of fact, because we have encountered many people who just don't want to tell us anything. Is quite understandable.
All right, Deborah, we certainly appreciate that information, and we'll be talking to you later. Thank you very much for that. Right now, we're going to have more on the crash, of course, tonight, tomorrow. Let's get the latest from Bill Ray.
Yeah, we've got a more cool, damp weather to contend with. As we mentioned, during the crash time, there was some light rain around, nothing heavy, but still some rain. And there's other areas of rain right now. We'll give you the forecast as we head into the overnight hours. Let's take a look and see what's happening.